No intro? Nothing cool, Steven?
Sorry, I got nothing. I thought about trying to add something to it, but it's like let's just get it going.
Well, that's not as that's. I guess it's.
I don't know. We'll do some music.
I guess it's no different than us just going beep boop boop bop bop. But hey, but here we are. We're not walking and talking. We're sitting and chatting as we prepare for Kentucky taking on the Fighting Matt McMahons for at least a couple more games of the LSU Tigers. Jack Pilgrim here with Zack Geoghegan, just not making the trip down to Baton Rouge. Are you? Is the FOMO setting in for you yet? It is for me a little bit.
As of 10 minutes ago, it just started blizzarding outside my home here in Lexington. So there's already snow forming on the ground right now. So I'm sure Baton Rouge is a little bit nicer, but I do think we need to come up with some sort of fun walk and talk style name for our sit and chats. Because sitting and chatting, I see Lynn Wheatley just posted that. I don't know. It doesn't flow as well, I don't think. Or does it? What do you think?
I think it's
Jack?
fine. It's exactly what we're doing.
It is.
If walking and talking is our literal action on our way to the game, I don't know how sitting and chatting is any different.
Because of the rhyme. It doesn't rhyme. We got to get a rhyme going.
Sit and spit.
We can just. I mean, we're spitting takes.
That's why. That's
okay. All right.
I
can get into that a little bit.
We'll workshop that a little bit. But what's not going to be workshopped is Dedan Thomas suiting up for the LSU Tigers tonight. He has been officially ruled out, and thank God, because they stink without Dedan Thomas.
Boy, do they.
LSU's leading scorer. They have not won a basketball game with Dedan Thomas off the floor. So, bingo, bango, good news for the Cats.
Yeah, he's averaging, hold on, I have it 16.2, I think. Yeah, 16.2 points per game. He has missed their last three due to a lower leg injury. From what I read, it was like a pre-existing injury that he had maybe a couple years ago or something like that, and it's flared up again. So he is dealing with that, and he's missed 3 games, and LSU hasn't scored more than 73 points in any of those games. So they've kind of really struggled, like heavily. Like they lost to a bad South Carolina team at home, by the way.
U3, baby.
Yeah, very bad loss for them. But this is still a quad one opportunity for Kentucky with it being on the road and LSU's, at least resume as it currently stands. Like, the resumes don't account for the fact that they stink it up right now with Dedan Thomas. It still says that they're a quad one game. So big opportunity for Kentucky. LSU will now turn it over to their freshman point guard who, spoiler alert, Jack, has not been very good in place of Dedan Thomas so far.
Although Mark Pope did try to do a good job of kind of hyping him up and saying that he does some really interesting things, and you never know when his breakout is coming through. I did appreciate his very just kind gesture of saying, "Hey, this dude doesn't absolutely stink."
Well, his reasoning for talking about Reese was so he could be like, when Reese plays, they give the ball to the other guy, Max McKinnon. So that was right. That was his way of complimenting Reese, was saying that. They give the ball to the other guy instead. So, but to that point, Max McKinnon shooting the ball really well, averaging 20 points in those 3 games. Really good shooting splits, over 43% from 3. So he's been playing well, but even still, LSU's still been getting kind of just embarrassed by a lot of these SEC teams. I think it was 11 points against Vanderbilt. I don't know how that one actually played out in that loss.
He had 27 against Vanderbilt, 3
and
threes.
They still lost by 11. So
I don't, that right there tells you everything you need to know, that even their best player can go for 27 with a trio of trays, and it doesn't amount to much of anything because, they really don't have a whole heck of a lot outside of them.
No, they don't. But they do have, some guys that Kentucky will want to keep their eyes on. Nwoko is like their big guy. That's kind of their main dude that they'll be kind of running their offense through at this, or running their, I don't know, probably running everything through at this point, because I feel like they can't do much without Dedan Thomas. But yeah, you got McMahon coaching for his job, so we'll see if he maybe throws out some little tricks and secrets and tries to see if he can save himself at this point. But yes, this LSU team is, at least by the numbers, they're not very good. They have struggled in all their SEC games, but it's still a quad one game. Kentucky's in a similar spot where they're still trying to figure everything out right now as well. We'll talk about that in a second, I'm sure, with basically you got 2 starters out, 2 new starters in, 3 new starters in, or whatever it is. So what does that mean, Jack? Tell us.
Well, first, I gotta address the absolute bizarro quote from LSU's AD. Like, what an insane thing to do. 3 games into the SEC schedule in January, be like, this
with your best player out.
this dude stinks, and if he doesn't turn it around, he is gonzo. I'm like, all right. I mean, I think we could all like read between the lines and understand like, hey, like you could have just, it could have been much more politically correct. It could have just been like hey, we understand that, you know, our standard just has to be better for LSU basketball. We have to find a way to get back to NCAA tournament. And we support Matt McMahon and his efforts to get us back there. You know, something to that effect where people can read between those lines and go, our goal is the NCAA tournament. He did not meet those goals. 2 and 2 together, he's fired. But man, oh man, to just come out and the exact quote says, we'll have to reevaluate if he does not make the tournament. It's like, ooh, yikes.
I think everyone knows what that means. But what, like, you could also just not say that. Like, knowing that your best player has been out for the last 3 games. Like, they were 12-1, and like their schedule wasn't good. They lost to Texas Tech, but like they beat a good SMU team. All their other, I mean, they were winning at least, and then their best player goes out and they lose 3 games. Like, duh. I guess, you know, that the only place that doesn't matter is when, you know, Kentucky's playing basketball, apparently. But so they don't have their best player. So obviously they're going to stink. So that was kind of an odd statement, especially when you're playing Kentucky. Like, Kentucky's also just as desperate right now to win games too. So I don't know if that's his way of motivating his coach. It's certainly an interesting one. Wasn't it the LSU governor that did something similar with whoever the coach was?
Brian Kelly, yes, did the exact same thing. Yeah,
something about these guys in charge at LSU. They really just like to swing it around, huh?
Just yap. A couple of recommendations. The next Yak and Relax. We got Cat's Cave Chat, not my favorite, but we got the alliteration there at least. Say and Stay. We're digging that. Stay. No, not that one.
No, I'm not going to say that one. Nope. Sorry, Tad. I don't know if that's what you were going for, but I'm not going to say that one out loud. I almost did. Say and Stay was better, Tad. That was a better option. Let's stick with that one.
Oh, goodness. But yes, to your point, Kentucky is set to roll out a fascinating new lineup. I am very intrigued by it. Will it work? I have no idea, but I get it. Like when the offense is so clearly better in the second half against Mississippi State, and you're running your good stuff, running the zoom action, some grenades, getting creative, getting frisky there for the first time in who knows how long. In a lot of that with Andrei Yelovich, with Cam Williams, with those kind of floor spreaders on the floor. Hey, let's just start them. Let's just try to get off to a hot start. You don't have JQ. You don't have Jalen Lowe. Why the hell not? So you will be seeing Cam Williams. You will be seeing Andrei Yelovich joining the starting lineup next to Malachi Moreno coming off his best performance, and then the other go-tos in Otega Owe and Denzel Aberdeen. What do you think, Zachary?
Boy, it feels like a lot is going on in everything you just said there. Like, and we didn't even mention the fact that Jaden Quaintance is going to miss his second straight game, so you don't have him. Jalen Lowe is obviously now going to be out for the season. Do we have any idea when the surgery is happening, Jack? Is that something that
his father told me within the next 2 weeks he'll be doing the surgery. He said Jalen is ready for the surgery, but they're kind of going through all the different options and seeing who's going to be the best. You know, just double and triple checking before they just commit to something. But Jalen is very, very excited to just get it done.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah, I'm sure he's in a lot of pain dealing with that for the last few months. But to the whole lineup question, I mean, I'm excited to see how it looks because it's different, it's new, it's something that it feels like a lot of fans have been asking for in terms of both those guys. Like, a lot of people have been asking for Cam Williams to start. A lot of people have been asking for more Yelovich minutes. Well, here's 2 and 1 right here. Yes, Jack Pilgrim,
both of them, please.
Yeah, so you're getting both of those guys. Like, it's not going to hurt the spacing, so that should help. Like what we saw against Mississippi State, they did a lot of more just pure ball movement stuff, getting Malachi kind of more involved as serving as kind of like a quasi point guard out there essentially. So it shouldn't, if they stick to doing more of that stuff and not necessarily try and just pound the ball into the ground with someone like Denzel or Colin or Jasper. Jasper will probably get a lot more minutes now as well moving forward, or at least they'll try and see. Like, there's no point in not seeing if Jasper Johnson is any good or not at this point. Like, just let the kid go out there and play, learn through some mistakes, which are going to happen, and just see if, you know, in a few weeks from now, you turn into a player that you can actually rely on and really lean on a little bit more moving forward. But, you know, I do, as long as they can just stick to what was working more last game, I don't know why it took this long to really go to that, but it was a successful strategy of just moving the ball a lot more, doing more of your bread and butter zoom action stuff. It felt like it was working really well. Maybe that was just the defense that Mississippi State was throwing out made it easier to do that. We'll see. I think there was some Twitter stuff I was seeing that at least numbers-wise, LSU is pretty close to Mississippi State in terms of how they defend like ball screens and things like that, and just their overall defense. So I think this is a good opportunity for Kentucky to at least kind of throw some things at the wall, Mark Pope in particular, and see what he's got with some of his lineups and using some more spacing players like Cam Williams and Yelovich and setting Diabate to the bench. And that's another storyline of this, is how does he handle all that as well? So before I continue ramble on there, Jack, you can step in with anything you've got to say.
Yeah, the Mo thing is fascinating to me because there really isn't, and I've got a little bit of just a little nugget of scoop I'll drop that I think may actually just answer our question as to why Yelovich is starting. Do we want to drop that right now? Just a little.
Why not? We're 11 minutes in. We got 250 people on here.
Little nuggy.
Little nuggy.
He was late for film earlier in the week, and he got kicked out of film.
Ooh.
So that it might be punishment related for Yelovich, but
Yelovich.
It's also Diabate got, and that I think putting 2 and 2 together, it feels very, hey, you've been see. I don't know anything about the response to like him talking about the coaches and stuff. The post Alabama weird press conference that was, and then that leading straight to the film stuff. Like I don't know if it was all of it combined or if it was just a, hey, you were late for film and therefore you're getting benched. Like we saw Jalen Lowe and Cam Williams, they got pulled from the starting lineup that one game after they got in trouble at practice. So maybe it's just a flat out, just straight up punishment, but it is a massive opportunity for Yelovich to go out there and prove himself. I don't understand why we're not seeing more of him, even if he's not the shot maker we thought he could maybe potentially become. He is such a high-level rebounder, and he does defend really. I mean, he put Caleb Wilson, of all people, in the gulag there for a minute.
Feels like forever ago.
It does. It was, and that was the last time we saw him get extended run against a team with a pulse. So it has been kind of frustrating to just go like, why is he the odd man out of the rotation? So I'm glad that he's going to get a shot. I hope it's extended run, 20 plus minutes tonight, because we did see the team flowing at its best. Unfortunately, with Mo Diabate off the floor, that's not going to be sustainable long term. There will be pockets for you to use Mo and play him a lot of minutes and run through him, similar to times against St. John's, times against Indiana, especially. But it's not going to be the rest of the way. And you got to see what else works. And as we saw Cam Williams and Yelovich together, does work.
Yeah. And they just, especially with the way Cam's playing lately, like it's just hard to keep him off the floor right now because he impacts both sides of the floor so well. And I think the main thing that might have pushed Pope over the edge with Cam Williams, at least, and putting him in the starting lineup was just the fact that Cam was getting to the rim against Mississippi State. Like for the first time all season was just like, okay, I'm a deadly shooter, and teams are starting to realize that. And maybe that was part of it. Maybe he didn't feel like teams were respecting his three-point shot a lot, so then he goes 8 of 10 against Bellarmine. He's like, okay, now I know I'm a deadly shooter. Throw a pump fake, I can get to the rim, or I can just step back and shoot another three like he did that against Mississippi State. But just the confidence of getting himself to the rim, I feel like Pope is realizing, okay, Cam's starting to put it all together, so let's give him more minutes. And like you're saying with Yelovich, like it kind of felt odd that he just wasn't getting playing time in general, and to go from what did he play? Only like 13 or 15 minutes against Mississippi State to now starting.
In DNP 2 games ago.
Yeah. He had four DNPs out of 5 games because he only played a little bit against Bellarmine as well. So,
that doesn't even really count, all things considered.
Exactly.
Like, he's been a DNP for
5 games,
a month.
Essentially. Yeah. So it is interesting to see him just kind of get thrown in there, but Ortega's been playing his best basketball of the season too, so maybe just continue to roll with whatever was working with him too, which it feels like was having guys like Cam out there, because the more you can space the floor around Ortega, the better he can be. And then, Colin Chandler had some good stuff too, so it does feel like the rotation's starting to shrink a little bit. We'll see how that actually formulates as the season goes along, because you still got Jaden Quaintance ideally comes back eventually, and then what do you do then? Like, if Malachi has another great game, it's like, okay, do we really want to screw up the chemistry that Malachi has going and throw back in for Jaden Quaintance and then really piss off Brandon? Like, that's all stuff Coach Pope has to deal with, and I do not envy any of that. But Malachi's really like he works with what the system that Pope wants to do, or at least he did in that last game. So if he can do it again tonight, it's going to be hard to try and justify sending him to the bench for extended periods as well moving forward if JQ comes back. But it's just like a musical chairs essentially with this starting lineup right now, and
it's shrinking, but it's shrinking, but also shifting. Like that's
a good way to put it. Yeah, it's shifting is probably better than shrinking. Yeah,
but it's also shrinking because you're seeing other guys in the rotation.
Well, one guy just left for the season, so there's one guy out.
That hurts, helps. Clarity, it's weird. It's a really weird time to talk about this team's rotation, but it's not a weird time to talk about our friends at Parlor Pizza. Make Parlor your game day destination, from award-winning pizzas like the Doctor or fan favorite hot honey pepperoni to Parlor's famous house smoked wings and extensive craft beer selection. Parlor has a menu that will please the whole family. Their location on Harrodsburg Road is just a short drive from Rupp Arena. Don't miss out on their great happy hour. Come in Monday through Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. to enjoy discounted pints, cocktails, and starters. 10 minutes left of that happy hour if you want to go in there right now while you're listening. You can just 10 quick minutes in there for the happy hour. Parlor is looking forward to celebrating 2 new locations this year, coming soon to Lexington, out at Hamburg and Richmond, Kentucky. A couple stats I want to throw at you that one Stephen Peak tweeted earlier today.
They're never
that I think
good. If Stephen Peak tweets them, it's never a good stat if he's tweeting it.
In the last 12 years, Kentucky has played at LSU 7 times. The Cats have lost 4 of those 7 games, and the 3 wins have all been by 3 points or fewer.
Yeah, I don't like that stat.
So I don't love that. The last time was the Rob Dillingham game that absolutely broke me, because that was like the Rob Dillingham, he's going to a different planet. We're seeing him elevate to lottery status. Oh my gosh, are we all witnessing this together? This is beautiful. And then just the dumbest way to lose that game. That's still just I lose my mind just thinking of how horrible the just down the stretch execution, man, in the last seconds. Oh, it drives me crazy. But Rob Dillingham did happen.
I forgot I'd remember that game, but I forgot exactly how it ended, with LSU just throwing up a shot from behind the backboard essentially and falling right, because I saw the highlights going around on Twitter this morning and I was like, oh my god, because I remember Rob having his little moment there, but I forgot how they won that one at the literal buzzer.
He had that and one that was just
yeah.
And then he had his step back baseline jumper, and we were like, oh, that's it, game. Let's go. Let's celebrate.
Cal was like, let's never start this kid.
Yeah, we'll reach Shepard. Why would you? And then, man, just a dumb way to lose that game.
Yeah, so let's hope that doesn't happen again tonight.
You scared of being down at Pistol Pete Center down in Baton Rouge?
Well, the first 500 students get a free T-shirt, so I'm sure they're energized down there.
500, whoa!
That stat that Steven did have, I mean, that's trends are real, so it is kind of one that you'll look at. I mean, obviously, it doesn't have an actual implication on what's going to happen tonight, but the trends are definitely not a positive sign. It's more like if you're betting, that would probably be something you would bet on, is that trend to continue. But Kentucky's. I think a lot of fans were expecting them to open as the underdog. I kind of was too, for whatever reason.
KenPom had them has them as an underdog.
A lot of it was just based on what the computers were saying, but maybe they're not taking into the D-Dan Thomas impact as much. Because I think they were a 4.5 point favorite this morning. I don't know what it is now, but I feel oddly confident about Kentucky going to this game. I'll knock on wood about that, but I mean, LSU just hasn't been any good without D-Dan Thomas in, so it just makes it easier. There's just one less guy to worry about. I don't know if Kentucky will be able to do the hard hedging stuff they did against Mississippi State, because LSU's bigs might be a little bit more capable of actually being able to burn Kentucky off stuff like that when they get the ball out of McKinnon's hands. And honestly, Kentucky might want to keep the ball in Reese's hands at this point. If he's averaging 2.5 turnovers a game or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually approach this defensively, I think, more than offensively, because I think it seems obvious that they'll go back to more of what they were doing against Mississippi State, but can they replicate that same thing on defense? I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see about that one, and we'll see who gets the scout for that one if Mark Pope brags on them if Kentucky wins in the post-game press conference again tonight.
Yeah, could you imagine a losing game and a losing game plan, and them just being like, that assistant coach came up with a losing game plan, and all of it is pushed on ex-assistant, because I don't even want to throw a name out there, but just fill in the blank assistant totally their fault. That'd be quite funny. Jasper Johnson, what are you expecting from him? I have heard that he has totally emerged, totally embraced that PG2 role at Kentucky here with Jalen Lowe going down. How do you think he will take advantage of that promotion and role?
Well, hopefully what he did against Mississippi State, where he said, you know what, I'm gonna shoot the ball. That's really the main thing. Like he got himself an open three, hit that, got himself into the lane a couple of times. I think he went 1 for 2 on those, but just got to be more comfortable and confident. Like I feel like that's the key to, like, I don't think he lacks confidence necessarily, but I think sometimes he just gets in his own head when he's actually on the floor and doesn't play the way that we know he can play, or at least the way that he played in high school. So, Jasper's not a true point guard. I don't think anyone's expecting him to be a true point guard. Like, he's not going to come out there and try and facilitate for everybody. But if he can do kind of similar stuff to what Denzel does, where it's more of that combo role where, okay, we need the ball in your hands a little bit, but, we're also going to use Malachi a bunch too, so you don't feel like you have to pound the ball into the ground for 20 seconds. Like, just move the ball around. Let the offense flow. Eventually, shots are going to come for Jasper Johnson. I don't think he needs to, like, be bringing the ball up every single time and try and initiate sets by himself. Like, he needs to let everybody else work around him, and stuff will formulate for him because he's quick and he's athletic, so he can get himself in situations that are beneficial for him. I would like to see him just get going from 3 tonight. If he can knock down a couple of threes, I really think that helps Kentucky's chances. Because you're going to need this kid long term. So the sooner that he can start getting really acclimated and actually playing like 15, 20 minutes a game, the sooner you can figure out how good or not he is and how well he works in this team. And then you can, close that experiment or continue rolling with it, whichever way it goes. So hopefully he ends up being, a good player, because I think we all think he is. We just haven't been able to actually see it yet.
Yeah, with him, he just hasn't. It's a confidence thing slightly, but more so it's just a comfort. And I think he's one of those guys that he always feels like he's looking over his shoulder, and that there's always like, I'm going to make one slight misstep and Pope is going to immediately pull me because he doesn't like me. Kind of like one of those types of back and forth that if he, like I think tonight we will see, if he feels that he can play through his mistakes and find a rhythm, he can be the confident player. Like, he believes in himself. I don't think it's about the confidence. I think it's more of the short-term immediate confidence of, I can't make a mistake or else Pope is going to pull me. So I think once we see him get some real extended run and let him get his game off, like take a bad shot or two. I really don't care, as long as you continue to kind of play through it and get the reward on the other side of that by hitting a big shot. Like feed him and let him get some volume there and see what you got. Like, you poured a lot of money into Jasper Johnson, like, just calling it how it is. You invested heavily into Jasper Johnson. It does you no good with Jalen Lowe now out for the year officially. You did not add an international kid at the break. You didn't add a G League kid. This is your team. You have him on your roster. Why the hell would you not see what you have in him? And so, like, and you don't get the full Jasper Johnson. It's very similar to Rob Dillingham. Again, to this day, they're totally different players, but in the sense of that experiment could have gone so wrong for John Calipari. The fact that he kept that guy in check,
Minnesota,
and on the roster and thriving as a lottery pick, I think that is one of John Calipari's best individual coaching jobs in terms of like individual personnel. Similar to that vibe where it takes some massaging. Sometimes you got to play through the bad turnovers and the bad shot selection, and just to like rip your hair out in the short term for the like, there is a lot of real talent and potential to unlock here. He's raw, but man, if you can just kind of chip away at that, there is something special underneath the surface that we just got to unlock. You have no choice. Like, you brought him in, you kept him here, you invested in him. Now is the time to figure out what the heck you have in him. And I think now is a perfect opportunity. Hey, maybe just like Rob Dillingham, his kind of breakthrough, like, whoa, this dude's a star game was in Baton Rouge. Maybe we get to see the same thing for Jasper Johnson today, Zach.
Yeah, this would be a good team to do it against. Like I said, there's just the defense should allow it, at least, for Jasper to get himself in good spots. And I think part of his issues with being on the floor is just the defensive side too. Like, he's long, but he's not like I don't know. He's just not. He doesn't seem quick on his feet as a defender.
He's
like, falls asleep a
handsy.
little bit.
He's not like the lateral quickness to stay in front of guys. There are times that he's reachy and you gotta tighten it up for sure.
And then Colin Chandler and Denzel Aberdeen, like they're not excellent defenders, but they're good enough defenders. So like, if you're Pope, if Jasper Johnson's not going to shoot and he's not playing defense, like you can kind of understand why you'd want to go with Colin and Denzel. But to your point about like looking over his shoulder a lot, like I'm sure he was doing a lot of that. Now there's no fear of that anymore. Like I'm sure Pope is telling him similar stuff. Like, all right, we gotta see, man. Like you got to go out there and you got to hoop. We got to see what you are. And if you're good enough, like you can help change this team, put him back in at least an upward trajectory. So, but he has to do enough on offense to help mask some of the defensive issues. And, that's where having a guy like JQ down there kind of helps a little bit, but you're not having him for this game. So we'll see how Jasper deals on that end of the floor. Not having to deal with D-Dan Thomas, I'm sure will help him as well.
Got a comment about the new transfer portal rule change. That big one, like fascinating rule change that happened just a couple hours ago. A 15-day window is set to open up after the national championship game. So the men's window will open from April 7th to April 21st. We saw Cam Williams commit hours before Kentucky got its teeth knocked in against Tennessee. Just weird. Just I totally support this decision to keep it, some uniformity and tighten it up to a 15-day window. I personally love it. What do you think?
It makes sense to do it after when everyone's done. It makes no sense to do it while 60 teams are still playing. So at least from like just a common sense standpoint, it definitely seems to work. 15 days is what we're currently in right now with the football portal. So I have no problem with that. And I think it's important to note that like that 15-day window is only to go in and out of the portal, or to go in the portal. It's not, you don't have to commit within those 15 days as well. Like you can commit afterwards. So as long as your name is in within those 15 days, that starts your process. So from all that, like just a common sense standpoint, it seems like the NCAA actually did something good here, because it makes sense and that evens the playing field a little bit more as well. That way you're not having to do things like Pope did with Kentucky last year, where you're having to recruit the portal and also prepare for the Sweet 16 at the same time. Like that's just not fair for anybody, really.
I remember the Donovan Dent stuff was happening while we were in the hours leading up to the Tennessee game. I remember the back and forth with Donovan Dent and how all that was unfolding. And then he commits at halftime of Kentucky. Kentucky's down by 100, and Donovan Dent commits to UCLA at halftime. It's like, all right, this is stupid. This like the coaches don't even know that they're losing one of their top targets right now, because they are literally coaching a basketball game right now. It's stupid. I'm to that point. I totally agree. Yeah.
No, it needed to change. It was a good change. So let's see if college football decides to do the same thing and move their portal window to, I guess, next Tuesday, whenever that would be. Something like that. So.
All righty. Well, let's start wrapping this thing up. We're T-minus an hour until tip-off. So let's go ahead and give our Parlor Pizza pregame predictions. Who are you rolling with?
I'm going with the Cats for reasons that we've spent the last 28 minutes talking about. LSU is just down bad right now. I mean, they need a win bad, but Kentucky also needs this win too. Like quad one wins, especially like against a team like LSU, aren't going to come around very often. So if you can win this game and then D-Dan Thomas comes back and LSU plays well and kicks back up, like this will still be a quad one win. So you want to have that on your resume. Or worse, like Kentucky loses this game, D-Dan Thomas continues to be out, LSU continues to stink, and then it falls to a quad 2, quad 3 game. So there's a bunch of different reasons why for the resume that this game is important for Kentucky. So I have them winning. I think I don't know if Kentucky will be able to score as much as they did against Mississippi State. But I'm going to say 77-71, I think is what I picked on KSR. I'll go with the Cats. My MVP pick last time I want to say was Ortega. I'm not entirely sure or for the Mississippi State game. And he has not, I mean,
you can lie and say it was.
Yeah, I'll lie and say it was. And, at least for the first 3 games overall, he's been Kentucky's MVP in the SEC so far. So I'll pick him again. He's going to have another 20 points tonight.
I'm going with an 81-76 victory for Kentucky. I love the spacing. I love just the idea of this new look lineup. I love the versatility. I love the floor spacing. I like the shot making potential. And I think of those options, I think Andrea Yelovich is going to be the guy who comes in, hits a couple of threes, just waiting for that moment to just get a couple of them to fall. I think he's up to one made three against power conference teams. So he's waiting
like
for
7.
he's waiting for a breakthrough performance. And I think this is going to be the one in his new starting 4 role for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Give us a stat line. You got a stat line for him?
Ooh. Yelovich is going for 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
Ooh, I like it.
You like that?
If he does that, I feel confident Kentucky would win.
Think so too. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So Cats 81-76. Parlor pregame predictions and Parlor pregame MVP. We will be hopefully celebrating on the other side again. We'll be kind of doing a similar setup to this. It's going to be a virtual rapid reaction from the comforts of our home, not down in Baton Rouge, but we will be down in Knoxville because we got a bone to pick with the Tennessee Volunteers, and we'll talk plenty about that here this weekend. So hopefully the Cats take care of business tonight. We can celebrate and have a grand old time as Kentucky moves to 500 in the SEC and get the good vibes rolling in SEC play. Go Cats.